What's up, Clarity Coders and guests? In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create and host an image-based web app for free. What we're going to do is we're going to utilize Replit and their free hosting to host this image app where we're going to take a user inputted image and user inputted text and create a new image out of that text that the user entered, like you're seeing here on your screen. Once we're done with that, we're going to make this app totally your own. So I'm going to show you some things you can change around to make a different kind of app that's unique to your coding styles. Let's not waste any more time and jump right in. All right, so the first thing we're going to do in this video is do a little app review. So I'm going to show you how exactly I created this and how to run it, and then we're going to show you how you can make it your own. So the first thing you want to do is click on this link down in the description of the video itself, and that will bring you to this page I'm showing here on the screen. From here, you can fork my REPL. So what's going to happen when you fork that REPL is you're going to get an exact copy of my code, and you can freely edit or mess around with that code, break it if you want, because you can always get back to it. You can always refork the REPL. So go ahead and click that, and you should come to a screen that looks like this. So this is going to be the main code of the project. If you're not already, go ahead and click into main.py. If you come to a sign up window, go ahead and sign up for Replit. It's free, there's no cost, and we can host this app for free, and you can always take it off Replit and put it somewhere else in the future as well. So one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change my settings here. I'm going to make my font size huge so you guys can see it a little better. And I'm going to quickly walk you through this project. So if you're just spinning this up, you can go ahead and hit run, and it will run this main page. Now what's going to happen is it's going to give you a live URL, so you can send this to your friends or whoever you want, and you can copy that and open it up in another web browser if you would like. So this is going to take us to our main app. Now what this app does is I can enter some text here, so I can say something like Clarity Coders, and then I can pick an image off of my computer, so whatever I want to do. I had some test ones that I grabbed off of Reddit. This is my actual family. So we'll use this one here. And then I can submit this. And now this takes a little bit. It's going to convert the image into a series of characters that I've entered, in this case, Clarity Coders. So it's going to process that image and then spit it back out. Now the first thing it does is it gives you an HTML version. So this is an HTML colored version of the image where the letters now make up the image itself. So if you zoom in, this is a big image. So you zoom into my butt there, you can see that it's made up of Clarity Coders now, a colored version. So the app does one other thing. Let's zoom back out. It also gives you a spot where you can download a high-res version of the image. I thought this would be cool if you shine this project up a bit. Maybe someone could print out an image that says family and it has an image like this or something like that that would actually be printed out. So now same thing, you can look at this image here, and if you zoom in, you can see it's all made up of the text Clarity Coders. So that's what our app does. Now let's take a look at the code real quick. So this is a Flask based app. So what I did is I essentially used a Flask template and then pulled in my own code. So here on main.py, you'll see this is essentially the boilerplate Flask app that I just copy pasted into our project. So you'll see here there's some imports that we use. This image text import web page, that is our actual program that I'll show you in a minute that converts the image and that sort of thing. We set our uploads folder, so you'll see here I upload everything into static and uploads. So this will store the images that users have converted on our site or different things like that. You can set some max content links, so that'll set the size of the image that you're willing to take. And you can also set the types of files you're willing for them to upload. So ours is an image app, so I don't want them uploading PDFs or anything else along there. Again, here's some more boilerplate. You'll see this is where it grabs the index file that the index.html file that you actually see here. So this is just a standard HTML file that we created. And we'll look at that in a minute. Then we're going to say if it's a post, so if we're submitting the form, so there's a form here, and if we hit submit, it'll post that data back. So we're going to look for the file, we're going to make sure it's not blank, and then we're going to make sure it's an allowed file type here. So once we get to this section, we know we have an image, and we know they at least uploaded, we know they uploaded something, and we know it's an image. So what we're going to do is we're going to save that file onto our web server. So this is something that's going to allow it to save to the upload folder. We define that above. So it is going to save the image inside of here. Now we can grab the fill text. So you can see I grabbed from the form value fill text. So let's go ahead and look at that index.html. So if we go under templates, we can look at index.html. And here you can see that we have a standard form inside of it. Well, we have a standard HTML page. You can see the title here that we've set. You can see we set a header 1 of image of letters. Now you can style this with CSS just like you normally would any other HTML page. You can see where we say select a file to upload. That is this that's showing up here. And then eventually we'll get to the fill text. So you can see what we referenced in our Python code. Fill text here. So whatever you enter for this input, whatever you enter here, is then going to be pulled into our fill text variable. If after we strip out the blank spaces, there's nothing in fill text, we're just going to use zeros. So if the user doesn't enter any fill text, it's going to make the image out of zeros. Then it goes ahead and creates the web page, and then it processes the HTML. So it gives a variable that has our HTML data in it. So that's image data. And we get our processed file name. So we can grab the file name of the image itself. And then we're going to create a new image. And this is that high-res image that the user is able to download from processed_file name. And that's pretty much it for the Flask side of the app. So essentially, this is pretty much boilerplate. There's not a lot going on here. And then if we go to our image text, we can actually see the brains of our web app in general. So what I've done here is I've created a class. So it's going to create an image path that's pulled in. The text that we're going to fill it in, remember it's either 0 or has a fill text of whatever the user sets. And this is kind of important. I'm going to set the max width to 600. So just to allow some more people to try this out on the server, I don't want to blow it up with huge images. So no matter what the image size is, I'm going to go ahead and resize that image once they create it. So now to create our original image data, we're going to do that in this spot here. Now what this is going to do, it's going to create that HTML version. So all we do here is we set our current color to none, we put our table data to none, an empty list, and then we get the width and the height of the image. So we have image.size here. Then we're going to iterate through the image. So we're going to go over each row, which is the Y values. Then we're going to go over each column, which is the X values. And we're going to take a look at each individual pixel. So using that XY coordinate, we're going to get the individual pixel. And from there, we can grab out the RGB color. Now you'll see I do an if else here. So if the length of pixels XY is 3, I use this version. If the length of the pixel version is 4, I use this version. So that is actually for a fourth channel that some images have, PNGs, of transparency. So we're going to ignore transparency right now. You probably should do something with that, but for right now, I'm going to use an underscore here, which basically means I don't need that variable. So either way, whether you have transparency or not in your image, it's going to work and grab out the RGB color values. Then I have a couple checks here. Now this is to make it more efficient. So if we're using the same color, I don't want to change the color with new font color tags. So I only want to do that if we have a new color that we weren't using before. So what it's doing is, if we haven't set a color yet, it's going to append some table data, and it's going to append these HTML tags to create the color. Now I know font tags are old, you could use something else, whatever's appropriate these days. I'm not the best web developer. And then our else if is if the color is different, so does not equal what we were doing before. We're going to go ahead and close out the font tag and then create a new font tag with that new color. Otherwise, it means we're using the same color we were using before. So if that's the case, then we can just get our letter that we're using with this class. You see I did self.getLetter. And then we can do another one of self.getLetter. So one thing that I found out when I was creating this project is most font is taller than it is wide by about half. So I went ahead and put two letters together to increase the width of the image to make it more sustainable. Now you could do actual math there to make it exact. This is kind of a rough estimate here of using two characters for each one vertical character. And finally, we create our new current color, whatever we're on now. And you can see here that then we just append the rest of the table data. So at the end of this, we have a block of table data that we can send to our index.html to show our image. And finally, when we call save HTML, that's what we're doing. We're creating that HTML file with the actual header information and everything it'll need to show up. We also have a create image function. So what this does is it's going to create our actual saved image, the high res one that we can download. So it's going to do essentially the same thing. It's going to pull in the image, and then we're going to iterate over it just like we did before. We're going to get the RGB values just like we did before. And then we're going to use a Pillow function. So Pillow is an image processing library, and we're going to add text to that image. So we're going to give the column and the row amount that we want to use, and we're going to get a letter, and we're going to fill it with whatever color we grabbed up here. So that we're going to use the same image color that we had before. Now I had to do a little guessing and testing to get these lined up a little bit, but I ended up with a column amount of plus equals 7, so, and a row amount of plus equals 7. So it's going to move over 7 pixels every time to add a new letter. And then afterwards, I reset the column to 0. So once we get over each column, it's going to reset the column to 0 and increase a row and then do again. We also used a little image enhancement. So this is just a brightness, change the brightness of the image output, and we're going to enhance by a factor here. We set the factor of 1.5. That just brings up the brightness. We used a background of black, so I think it looks nice if we pull and make it a little brighter on the image itself. And then finally, we have if underscore underscore name underscore underscore. So what does this mean? Well, if we were testing this project and just running this file, not our main program, but just this file, we could hard code in passing in a cat image, creating the HTML, and then creating the image. Now, when I actually developed this, I developed the image.py first. So I created this Python program first and tested it with this if underscore underscore main before I created the Flask app that it lives on today. Now on the index.html side, you'll see we can also pass in variables here. Now this is cool because we can pass back information to the user, so we can tell them to be patient while it uploads. We could tell them how long this took to run. And specifically, we can pass in our image data as well. You remember we created that image data of the HTML file itself? Well, this allows us to spit that back into our program itself. You'll notice I also have a safe keyword here. That means I literally want it to not use escape characters and do live HTML. This can be dangerous if you're allowing users to put things into your app, because they could enter their own code there. But we are using our own derived code from our Python script, so we should be fine there. So we're spitting that out. In here, you can see that we created our own URL as well to download the image. So we're passing the new location of our saved version of our image as well. Now I'm going to show you how to create something totally unique. So a totally new project. So what I did here is I forked our project and I call it gray image, and I'm inside main.py. From here you can see that if we slide down, we process the file, or we create and show our image data, and then down here we actually create a hard-coded image. So this is where we actually save the high-res version that you can download. So for this new project, let's just create a black and white image converter, or a grayscale image converter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave all this. We're just going to ignore it for now. You can take that out, and we might here in just a minute to clean it up. But let's change create image to do something unique. So let's go into image.py, and we can slide down to create image. And you can see here that we do a bunch of stuff here that we don't want to do anymore. So we're going to slide all the way down. So I'm going to take this whole function, and the only thing I'm going to leave is image.save. And then file name. Actually, the original image that we upload is in self.image. So what this is going to do is it's going to save our image in a new location. Now, right now, this function literally takes the original image and then saves it with a new image name on it, whatever we pass in. So if we go back to main.py, you can see that we passed in create image, this processed file name here, which we set up above with this F string. So instead of processed, let's call it grayscale. So we're going to append grayscale to the front of it. Everything else is going to run the exact same. Now, inside image.text in create image, we're obviously not doing anything yet. So one thing we can do with Pillow is grayscale an image or change the color space or different things like that. So I went to Google because I didn't know how to do it. And I just Googled Pillow, convert image to grayscale. And I came to this page here, which seems to be a pretty good resource. I slid down, it has some code examples, opening a file, converting a file. It explains the different modes. So L is one channel that can take any value between 0 and 255. This is what I typically consider grayscale. There's also one with an alpha, so this has transparency on it. We don't really care about that, so we can use the L version, I believe. So you'll see to do this, we just do .convert. Now .convert1 is going to be true black and white, not necessarily what we want. So let's do self.image, and then we'll do .convert, and we can convert it to 1. Instead, let's do L, and then we can save it under our file name, whatever that is. Now we can save this, and we can go ahead and run. Now remember, when you hit run on Replit, it's going to run main.py no matter what. So if we hit run here, it's going to spin up our whole app. It's going to look and function exactly the same as before, except with the downloaded image. So we can do something like family again. Now it's going to show the web page because we didn't edit that out. I can pick my family picture, submit, and we'll see if it errors out. So it didn't error out. That looks good. It created our image like before, which we expected. If we go to image.py, there's no errors, so I think we're good there. Let's try and download our grayscale image. And you'll notice it's exactly the same. Dang it. It did change the name. Wonder if we have to save it as our image. I don't think so, but let's try that. Stop, play again. Text doesn't matter. Let's grab my family picture again, submit. There it is. So I did have to save it, probably because it's a class and it got a little weird, but you can see how we can easily convert an image or do whatever you would like to that image using Python. So create whatever app you want and showcase it on Replit. Let me know in the comments anything you would like to add to this project. If you want to see other stuff done with this image app, I'm happy to upload another video on it and show you exactly how to do something you're looking to do, but create something unique to you. Share it on our Discord if you haven't, and publish it on Replit. If I see it, if it's the best project, I'll pin it on YouTube. I'll shout it out in the Discord. I'll mention it in my next video. Until next time, keep coding.